Talk about Meghan Markle, because she's in the Sun today, pausing her jam firm in case it gets annoying. Apparently, some kind of reality has set in. Angela, very good morning to you. She thinks she might be annoying.
She thinks people might be annoying.
Yeah.
Yo, hold up. You know what they say. Life's like a box of chocolates, but apparently Meghan Markle's life is more like a jar of unregistered jam. We got ourselves a situation here, people. The FDA just pulled the plug on Duchess Meghan's jam empire faster than you can say, I should have stayed in Suits. But wait, there's more drama brewing than a Starbucks on Black Friday, and trust me, this story gets juicier than her supposedly organic fruit spread.
Jam one after the other. If they've got to wait, it's going to be terrible. So she wipes them out. This is what she was talking about to Tina Knowles, the mother of Beyonce. It was her last podcast. Last week was her last podcast.
So get this. Our girl Meghan thought she could waltz into the food business like she's Martha Stewart's long-lost cousin, right? She's out here launching as ever organic jam, posting all those Instagram-worthy photos with the fancy gold labels, thinking she's about to revolutionize breakfast tables across America. But here's where it gets wild. The FDA comes knocking like the Kool-Aid man, except instead of, oh yeah, they're screaming, oh no. Because homegirl forgot to do one tiny little thing. What's that thing, you ask? Well, buckle, because this is where things get more twisted than a pretzel factory explosion. And I'm about to tell you exactly how our royal rebel managed to mess up something as simple as, hold on to your hats, registering her jam. You know what this reminds me of? Remember in Dumb and Dumber when Lloyd goes, so you're telling me there's a chance? Well, Meghan probably thought there was a chance she could skip all the boring legal stuff, but the FDA was like, we're gonna need you to pump the brakes there, Your Highness.
And Tina gave her a real whopping, really. She kept telling her, well, it's not a good idea to let things run out. And what are you doing? Get on with it,
right.
Girl.
But wait, it gets better. You want to know what the real kicker is? This woman, this Duchess, had all the money in the world, probably has advisors coming out of her ears, and she still managed to forget the most basic step in food manufacturing. It's like showing up to a job interview in your pajamas and wondering why you didn't get hired. The FDA requires every food product sold across state lines to be registered. That's not rocket science. That's food business 101. But somehow, some way, our jam entrepreneur decided rules were more like suggestions. And here's the plot twist that'll make your head spin faster than Linda Blair in The Exorcist.
Meghan then said, we don't know how many tears she's cried while she's got all this ready. It's been so difficult because she's done so much work. So it's a very extraordinary way of behaving and not doing anything for 6 months.
Hold up. We're just getting started. You thought the registration thing was bad? Wait till you hear about the organic certification scandal. This woman slapped 100% organic on her labels like she's writing fan fiction, completely forgetting that the USDA actually checks these things. It's like claiming you're a Navy SEAL when you can't even swim. Eventually, somebody's going to ask for proof.
But you've got to cover it. You've got to make sure that people don't only believe this. So that's it. But what she did say was Lilibet, who's actually 4 today. There's a picture of her with her mother's hair all over her, so we can't really see what she's like. No thing they wanted. I thought that nobody was buying it, actually.
So there's Meghan, selling her organic jam to unsuspecting customers who probably paid premium prices thinking they're getting the good stuff. Meanwhile, the USDA is somewhere in Washington going, ma'am, this is a Wendy's, because there's no record of any organic certification whatsoever. You know what this is? This is like that scene in Catch Me If You Can, where Leo's character is pretending to be a pilot, except instead of flying planes, Meghan's flying under the regulatory radar thinking nobody would notice her fake organic credentials. But the government agencies came for her faster than Samuel L. Jackson, screaming about snakes on a plane.
Worked with her daughter all the time. That would be so sweet. But it was a hideous discussion. And she was trying to get the best out of it about herself, that she was so clever and she was doing it right because she wanted people to be so happy, but they're not going to be happy.
But here's where the story takes a turn that would make Night Shyamalan proud. The consumer backlash started faster than you could say, I see dead people. And trust me, Meghan's brand reputation was about to become one of those dead people. The internet detectives came out in full force. And when I say full force, I mean they went full CSI, Miami, on this jam situation. They started digging deeper than a gold prospector in 1849, and what they found was shocking.
She thinks next time she might not do food, she might do cutlery or something like that. And
yeah.
you think, okay. But meanwhile, the people who've paid for food and haven't got it are actually very angry. So how are you working? How are you getting on? I mean, it's she's a...
Y'all, when this news broke, the internet went off like a firecracker in a library. People started making TikToks throwing her jam in the trash. And I'm not talking about a gentle toss. I'm talking full-on yeet mode. Hashtags like Jamgate and Not So Ever started trending faster than that dress that broke the internet. You know, the blue and gold one? Or was it white and black? Anyway, but here's the really embarrassing part. Remember how Meghan always talks about authenticity and being real? Well, honey, the only thing real about this situation is the very real FDA investigation. People who actually supported her, who bought into her whole "I'm just a regular girl who married a prince" narrative, felt more betrayed than when Ross said Rachel's name at his wedding to Emily. The comments section became a roast session that would make Comedy Central jealous. One person wrote, "I supported her, I bought her brand, but now I feel duped. I trusted her name meant quality. I was wrong." That's more devastating than when Bambi's mom got shot. These people didn't just lose money. They lost faith.
The thing on her head. She needs help. But yesterday, out came this long podcast about her, and she got a good telling off. And then later that afternoon, out came a message that anyone who wants strawberries or raspberry jam, please get in touch.
And you know what the worst part is? This whole time, Meghan's probably sitting in her Montecito mansion like, why is the rum always gone? While her legal team is running around like headless chickens trying to figure out how to fix this mess. But little did everyone know, the retail apocalypse was just beginning.
Yeah.
The next day, she is doing it. Please ring a number and we'll try and help you.
Well, it's not that hard to deal with a couple of requests. It's a couple of thousand you can't deal with, but I don't think there's that many. So they can probably just do it on the per basis of just send us an email and we'll send you a jar.
Yes.
That seems to be how it's...
Now, this is where it gets absolutely hilarious. You know how in movies, when there's a zombie apocalypse, everyone starts running and screaming? Well, that's exactly what happened with retailers when they found out about the FDA situation. These boutique stores and wellness outlets that were so excited to carry Meghan's jam, talking about, oh, we're going to make so much money with this celebrity product, suddenly started pulling jars off their shelves faster than kids hiding their phones when mom walks in the room. One retailer straight up admitted, and I'm paraphrasing here, "We were sold on Meghan's name and media coverage, but once we realized the product wasn't even FDA compliant, we felt tricked." Tricked! This grown business owner felt bamboozled by a duchess. It's like that scene in Home Alone where Kevin's family realizes they forgot him, except instead of forgetting a child, Meghan forgot to register with the government.
Disaster, actually, but she keeps calling herself a businesswoman, and she hasn't, because it's all fallen down. And she's there on her own trying to do it, she pretends, but she's got loads of people. One of the cooking days, she had 80 people to help her in her house.
But wait, there's more. Major organic food distributors, the big boys, started reconsidering all future collaborations with her American Riviera Orchard brand. When I say they dropped her faster than a hot potato, I mean they basically gave her the Thanos snap treatment. Gone, just like that. One day, she's the next big thing in wellness. The next day, she's more unwelcome than a skunk at a garden party. And speaking of garden parties, you know what Meghan's legal team was probably doing while all this was happening? Oh, BOY, when the legal eagles swooped in? It was like watching the Avengers assemble, except instead of saving the world, they're trying to save Meghan's reputation from complete and total annihilation. These lawyers are working overtime, like they're competing for Employee of the Month at a 24-hour McDonald's. They're desperately trying to fix the FDA violations before formal penalties get issued. But honey, that horse has already left the barn, jumped the fence, and is probably halfway to Canada by now. The legal consequences are stacking up like pancakes at IHOP, regulatory fines, potential class action lawsuits from angry customers, and investigations into where and how the product was manufactured. It's more complicated than trying to understand the plot of Inception while someone's explaining quantum physics to you. But here's the real tea, and I cannot stress this enough. Lawyers familiar with FDA cases are saying Meghan's team might try to settle quietly to avoid a public court case. You know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like someone's about to pay some serious hush money faster than you can say, "Show me the money." But the real plot twist that nobody saw coming was when food industry professionals started roasting Meghan harder than a marshmallow at a campfire. One senior food consultant basically said this was the kind of mistake you'd expect from a college student selling jam from their dorm room, not from a duchess with global reach and millions in backing. That's colder than Jack freezing to death at the end of Titanic. Now, here's where we need to have a serious conversation, because this isn't Meghan's first rodeo in the failure department. Remember the Spotify deal that went down faster than the Hindenburg? Yeah, that one. Critics are pointing out a pattern here, and it's uglier than that CGI mustache they tried to erase from Superman in Justice League. The pattern goes like this. Meghan jumps into a new venture with all the glitz and glamour of a Hollywood premiere, gets everyone hyped up like it's the next iPhone launch, and then when real-world consequences show up to the party uninvited, she disappears behind her legal team faster than Houdini performing his greatest trick. It's like she's the master of the vanishing act, except instead of entertaining people, she's leaving them holding the bag. Marketing experts are saying the core problem is simple. There's no vision, no story, no substance. It's basically Meghan's face slapped on a jar, hoping to sell nostalgia, like trying to recreate the magic of your childhood by buying the same cereal, except the cereal tastes like cardboard and disappointment. And just when you think the story couldn't get any more dramatic, the FDA decided to go full Gordon Ramsay on this situation. Y'all, the FDA basically turned into Gordon Ramsay and started screaming, "This jam is raw," except instead of raw, it was unregistered, uncertified, and potentially unsafe. They issued guidance asking consumers to report any continued sale of as-ever spreads. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. A government agency is now treating Meghan's luxury jam like it's a public safety threat. This is the kind of response usually reserved for products that might make you sick, not celebrity jams. But here we are, living in a timeline where the British royalty's jam is being treated like contraband. It's like that scene in Goodfellas where they're telling Henry Hill he's in the witness protection program, except instead of protecting Henry, they're protecting consumers from Meghan's jam. An FDA spokesperson literally said on California television, "If you see this product for sale, do not purchase it and report it. Report it like it's stolen merchandise or something." This went from a luxury lifestyle brand to a public safety announcement faster than you can say, "I'll be back." But here's the absolutely wild part that makes this whole situation more twisted than a Christopher Nolan movie. In less than a week, As Ever went from being Meghan's big re-entry into public life to being the first product ever from a British royal to be informally banned in parts of the US. That's not just a failure, that's historical failure. She's literally making history for all the wrong reasons. And just when you think we've reached the peak of this mountain of chaos, there's one final twist that'll leave you speechless. So here we are at the end of this absolutely wild journey. And let me tell you something. What started as a harmless jar of jam has turned into a regulatory nightmare, a public relations disaster, and a career-defining humiliation all rolled into one. It's like watching the Titanic sink, except instead of an iceberg, it was bureaucratic paperwork that took down the ship. Meghan's team is scrambling, like they're defusing a bomb in a Mission Impossible movie. Her fans are more confused than tourists trying to navigate Times Square. And her critics? Oh, honey, they're having more fun than kids in a candy store. This whole situation has become the gift that keeps on giving for anyone who loves a good celebrity disaster story. PR consultants are saying Meghan's brand trust is now beyond repair. And coming from PR people, that's like a doctor telling you to get your affairs in order. One crisis manager said the pattern is clear.